In order to make these envelopes, I've taken 2 book pages and glued them together just using glue stick. And once it dries, the paper becomes fairly sturdy. Okay, and then we're just going to fold the bottom up and leaving a little space in between this. We're going to fold that over for a flap. I'm going to do the same thing with this. Okay, and yes, our words are upside down. If that bothers you, you know, I'm sorry. We're going to cover some of that up. All right. In order to make our window, I'm going to use an oval die. Let's get my machine out here. So I just want to figure out the placement. I'm just eyeballing it. I know my flap is going to come down over here, so I'm going to put it more towards the bottom end. Okay. Should have done that first. So there's my crease running along there. I'm going to put it about 1/4 of an inch away from that crease and then centered this way. You can tape that die down if you want. Okay, there's our little oval. And we're going to put something in there to cover the hole up. And save this. You could probably do something with that. And let's do the same thing with our second envelope. Putting it down towards the bottom and centered from side to side. Okay, there's our second one. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, so here's our 2 envelopes. Looking good so far. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to add some acetate to the inside. You don't have to use acetate. You've got something clear to use, you can certainly do that. I tell you what, let's just do something different here. I have some vellum here that's really pretty, and that might be interesting to use. And if you're interested, this came from Michael's. I'm trying to find one that doesn't have a whole lot of stuff going on, because we want to be able to see through it. So here's my crease right here. So I'm just going to cut this a little bit shy of that. A little bit shy over here. just use this as a template to cut the other one. Okay. I'm going to use art glitter glue to glue this down. All right, while that's drying, let's go ahead and we want to put something nice here in the background to look through in that window. The book page is fine. If you like that, leave it. But I'm going to put something a little more Christmassy in there. Okay, I think that looks good. Again, I'm just going to pencil off where I need to cut. You just want to make sure that you stay away from your creases so everything will fold up nicely. Okay, so there's that. And now we want to cover up this part here. And I think I'm going to use the same paper. Let me see what that looks like. Actually, I don't like that. So we'll do something different with that. Let's get this other one done. Okay, so there's our two envelopes, and I think what I'm going to do is go just quickly stitch around this opening, and I'll come right back. Okay, I've sewn around the windows, and so the next thing that I'm going to do is just round these corners just a little bit. All right. So what I'm going to do for the flap is just add some lace. Let me go ahead and ink these creases so that you can see them better. All right. Just going to lay this across here. Just lay it right up against that crease without going over. All right, so here's where we are so far. I think that looks so pretty. All right, what I'm going to do now is go sew down these edges to close the envelope, and I'll be right back. All Right, these are all sewn. I'm going to flatten my stitches. And just trim off these little threads. All right, so let's do a little bit of extra decorating on these. I'm going with this little paper poinsettia. These came from Hobby Lobby. And the paper that I put inside has poinsettias on it, so that's why I'm going with that. I think that looks really cute. And on this one, I've got a little piece of lace. And I think I'm also going to put a little piece of this holly on there. Let's see what it looks like. You know what I think? That's all that one's going to need. Okay, that's cute. I like that. So let's go ahead and glue this down. And this trim here came from Amazon, I believe. I've had it for a while. Let's take this piece of holly and put it right down in the center. And let that dry for just a few minutes, and I'll show you how you can use these in your journal. Okay, these are fairly dry now, and I found these pictures in my stash. These are from Tailor Made Journals, and I will leave a link to her Etsy shop below. But these looked really cute, peeking through the window. Do this one. Just adorable. So there are a couple things that you can do here. You can glue the whole thing down on a journal page and use it as a tuck as well as a pocket, okay? Or you can just attach it here to the side of your journal page, and it'll do like this, okay? And that's pretty. It makes a pretty page decoration there. You could also, just to keep on going with this, you could put some bling on the lace too if you wanted to. I'm not going to. That's as far as I'm going to take this. I have a lot of stuff that I've made using the papers for this journal, so I think I'm probably better stop and start putting some of these things in the journal. Okay, so guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video today and that you'll give it a try. It's a great way, again, to use up your book pages, which I absolutely love to use. And envelopes are always a great way to decorate your journal. Thanks so much for crafting along with me today. But before we go, I'd love to share a quick Bible verse, just a little reminder of faith and peace to carry with you through the rest of the week. And that verse is Colossians 3:17 that says, "And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him." This verse reminds us that every action, whether big or small, should reflect the character of Jesus. Whether you're working, caring for family, creating, or helping someone, you can do it as unto the Lord. That means doing your best with integrity, kindness, and love, not just for recognition, but to honor him. Our speech should uplift, encourage, and reflect God's goodness. When you speak, ask yourself, would this please the Lord? Words of patience, forgiveness, and thanksgiving shine his light into everyday conversations. Paul encourages us to give thanks through everything, not for every situation, but in every situation. Gratitude shifts our focus from what's lacking to what God has already provided. It keeps our hearts humble and joyful even in challenges. When you remember that everything you do represents Christ, it changes your perspective. Simple acts like showing kindness, working diligently, or creating something beautiful becomes opportunities to reflect God's love to others. In short, this verse is about living intentionally, letting Jesus be visible through your actions, your words, and your attitude of thankfulness every single day. So guys, I hope you have a beautiful and blessed week, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.